Central America is a vibrant and diverse region. It forms a narrow land bridge connecting North and South America. This unique geographical position has shaped its history profoundly. Majestic volcanoes rise towards the sky here. Lush rainforests teem with incredible wildlife. Beautiful coastlines meet both the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. This land is not just a pathway for animals and plants, it has also been a crossroads for many different human cultures over thousands of years. Understanding its story is key to understanding the Americas. The history of Central America is incredibly long and rich. It stretches back many thousands of years. Long before Europeans arrived, great civilizations flourished here. They built impressive cities and developed complex societies. Later, new peoples arrived from across the ocean. This brought immense changes to the land and its inhabitants. Wars were fought, and new societies were born from these encounters. The story of Central America is one of constant transformation. It is a story filled with drama, innovation, and resilience. Studying Central America's past helps us understand its present. The legacies of ancient empires are still visible today. The impact of European colonization continues to shape its societies. The struggles for independence and the challenges of nation-building have left deep marks. Knowing this history allows us to appreciate the complexities of the region. It helps us understand the strengths and the struggles of Central American people. Their history is a testament to their ability to adapt and endure through many centuries of profound change. This essay will take you on a journey through time. We will explore the ancient civilizations that once dominated this land. We will look at the arrival of the Spanish and the period of colonial rule. We will examine the fight for independence and the creation of modern nations. Finally, we will discuss the current socioeconomic situation and the vibrant cultural heritage of Central America. This exploration aims to provide a clear and engaging overview. It is for anyone interested in this fascinating and important part of our world. Among the most famous ancient peoples of Central America were the Maya. Their civilization flourished for over 2,000 years. They were not a single unified empire, but a collection of powerful city-states. These city-states often traded with each other, but sometimes they fought. The Maya made incredible advances in many fields. They developed a very complex writing system using hieroglyphs. They were skilled mathematicians and created a sophisticated calendar system. Their astronomers accurately tracked the movements of stars and planets. This knowledge was vital for their agriculture and religious rituals. Maya society was highly structured and organized. At the top were kings and noble families who ruled the city-states. Priests held significant power as religion was central to Maya life. They believed in many gods and goddesses who controlled different aspects of the natural world. Elaborate ceremonies, including sacrifices, were performed to please these deities. Skilled artisans created beautiful pottery, jade carvings, and intricate murals. Maya architects designed and built stunning pyramids, palaces, and observatories. These structures, like those in Tikal or Copan, still inspire awe today. While the Maya are well known, other civilizations also thrived in ancient Central America. Before the Maya, the Olmecs, often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica, had a significant influence. Their art and religious ideas spread widely. Further south, in what is now Nicaragua and Costa Rica, groups like the Nicarao and Corotega developed their own distinct cultures. In areas of present-day Honduras and El Salvador, peoples like the Lenca and Pipil had established societies. The Aztec Empire, centered in Mexico, also extended its influence and trade networks into parts of northern Central America, demanding tribute from some groups. By the time Europeans arrived in the early 16th century, many of the great Maya cities had already declined. This was not a sudden collapse, but a gradual process over several centuries. Scholars believe factors like overpopulation, environmental degradation, prolonged droughts, and internal warfare contributed to this decline. However, Maya people did not disappear. They adapted, and many smaller Maya communities continued to thrive. Their descendants still live in the region today, carrying on their rich cultural traditions. Other indigenous groups also maintained their distinct ways of life throughout Central America. The arrival of Europeans marked a dramatic turning point in Central American history. Christopher Columbus reached the Caribbean coast of Central America on his fourth voyage in 1502. He briefly explored parts of present-day Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. However, permanent Spanish colonization efforts began later, in the following decades. Spanish conquistadors were driven by powerful motivations. They sought wealth in the form of gold and silver. They desired personal glory and titles. They also aimed to spread Christianity, often by force, to the indigenous populations they encountered. The Spanish conquest of Central America was a brutal and complex process. It was not a single event but a series of campaigns spanning several decades. Figures like Pedro de Alvarado, one of Hernán Cortés's captains, led expeditions south from Mexico into Guatemala and El Salvador in the 1520s. Other conquistadors entered from Panama and the Caribbean. They used horses, steel weapons and firearms, which gave them a military advantage over indigenous warriors. The Spanish also skillfully exploited existing rivalries between different indigenous groups, enlisting some as allies against others. Indigenous peoples throughout Central America did not passively accept Spanish domination. Many groups fiercely resisted the invaders. The Quiché Maya, led by Tecún Umán in Guatemala, fought bravely against Alvarado's forces. In Honduras, the Lenca warrior Lempira led a major uprising that challenged Spanish control for a time. However, indigenous resistance faced enormous challenges. Besides superior Spanish weaponry, a far more devastating weapon was disease. Smallpox, measles and influenza, previously unknown in the Americas, spread rapidly and wiped out vast numbers of indigenous people, severely weakening their ability to fight. The immediate effects of the conquest were catastrophic for the indigenous populations. Millions died from diseases, warfare, and forced labor. Their existing social, political, and religious structures were shattered or radically altered. The Spanish imposed their own system of government and their religion. Lands were confiscated and redistributed to colonists. Indigenous people were forced to work in mines, on plantations, or building new colonial cities. This period ushered in centuries of colonial rule and fundamentally reshaped the destiny of Central America and its peoples. After the initial phase of conquest, Spain established a formal colonial administration in Central America. The region became part of the Viceroyalty of New Spain, which was governed from Mexico City. However, Central America itself was organized as the Captaincy General of Guatemala. This administrative unit included most of present-day Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, as well as the Mexican state of Chiapas. A captain general, appointed by the Spanish king, oversaw the region. Local governors and officials managed smaller territories, implementing Spanish laws and policies. The colonial economy brought significant changes to Central America. The Spanish introduced new crops like wheat, sugarcane, and coffee, as well as domestic animals like cattle, horses, and sheep. However, the primary focus was on extracting wealth for Spain. Silver mines in Honduras provided some riches. More important were agricultural exports like cacao and indigo, a plant used to produce blue dye. To ensure a labor supply, the Spanish implemented various systems of forced labor. The encomienda system granted colonists rights to tribute and labor from specific indigenous communities. Later, the repartimiento system required indigenous men to work for set periods. Colonial society was rigidly hierarchical and based on ethnicity and place of birth. At the very top were the peninsulares, people born in Spain who held the highest government and church positions. Below them were the Creoles, people of pure Spanish descent born in the Americas. Creoles often owned large estates and businesses, but were largely excluded from top political offices. Mestizos, people of mixed European and indigenous ancestry, formed a growing intermediate group. Indigenous peoples were legally subjects of the Spanish crown, but were often exploited and marginalized. Enslaved Africans were also brought to some coastal areas to work on plantations. The Catholic Church played a central and powerful role in colonial Central America. Missionaries, primarily Franciscans, Dominicans, and Mercedarians, worked to convert indigenous populations to Christianity. They built churches, often on the sites of pre-Hispanic temples, and established schools and hospitals. While many indigenous people adopted Catholicism, they often blended it with their traditional beliefs and practices. This resulted in a syncretic form of Christianity that incorporated elements from both cultures. The church became a major landowner and influenced many aspects of daily life, from education and art to social norms and morality. Section 5. The Winds of Change independence movements. By the late 18th and early 19th centuries, new ideas began to challenge Spanish colonial rule. The Enlightenment, a philosophical movement in Europe, emphasized reason, liberty, and individual rights. These ideas spread to the Americas and inspired many. The success of the American Revolution in 1776 and the French Revolution in 1789 showed that colonies could break free from European powers. In Central America, Creoles, who were wealthy and educated but often felt like second-class citizens compared to Peninsulares, became increasingly discontented with Spanish policies, trade restrictions, and high taxes. While Central America did not experience the large-scale, bloody wars of independence seen in South America or Mexico, there were early sparks of rebellion. In 1811 there were uprisings in San Salvador and Nicaragua, led by figures like José Matías Delgado and Manuel José Arts. These early movements were relatively small and were quickly suppressed by colonial authorities, however they demonstrated the growing desire for greater autonomy and self-rule. The Napoleonic Wars in Europe also weakened Spain's control over its colonies, creating an opportunity for those seeking independence. The path to independence for Central America was relatively swift and largely peaceful. On September 15, 1821, prominent Creole leaders in Guatemala City declared independence from Spain. This decision was influenced by events in Mexico, where Agustín de Iturbide had recently declared independence. There was little military resistance from Spanish officials in Central America at this point. The declaration was quickly accepted by the other provinces within the Captaincy General. Key figures in this period included Gabino Gainza, the last Spanish Captain General who initially supported independence, and thinkers like José Cecilio del Valle, who drafted the Act of Independence. Immediately after independence from Spain, Central America faced a new challenge: its political future. For a short period from 1822 to 1823, the region was annexed to the newly formed Mexican Empire under Agustín de Iturbide. However, this union was unpopular and short-lived. When Iturbide's empire collapsed, Central American leaders declared full independence again. In 1824 they formed the Federal Republic of Central America, a union of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. Unfortunately, this federation was plagued by internal divisions, regional rivalries, and conflicts between liberals and conservatives, leading to its disintegration by 1839. Section 6. Forging Nations: The Path to Modern Central America. Following the collapse of the Federal Republic of Central America around 1839, the individual states went their separate ways. Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica each became independent nations. Panama remained part of Colombia until 1903, and Belize was a British colony, known as British Honduras, until 1981. The early years of these new republics were marked by significant challenges. They had to define their borders, create new institutions of government, and establish national identities. This process was often difficult and fraught with internal and external conflicts. The 19th and early 20th centuries in Central America were characterized by considerable political instability. Power struggles between two main political factions, the liberals and the conservatives, were common. Liberals generally advocated for federalism, free trade, separation of church and state, and modernization. Conservatives favored centralism, protectionist policies, and a strong role for the Catholic Church. These ideological clashes often led to civil wars and frequent changes in government. This period also saw the rise of caudillos, powerful military or political leaders who ruled by force and personal charisma, often prioritizing their own power over democratic processes. Economically, Central American nations became increasingly integrated into the global market as producers of agricultural commodities. Coffee became a major export crop, particularly in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Costa Rica, leading to the development of large plantations and a new wealthy elite. Bananas also became a crucial export, especially in Honduras and Costa Rica. This banana boom was largely controlled by powerful foreign companies, such as the United Fruit Company from the United States. While these exports brought some economic growth, they also led to increased foreign influence and created economies heavily dependent on one or two products, often referred to as banana republics. Social issues remained pressing throughout this period of nation building. Land ownership was highly concentrated in the hands of a small elite, while the majority of the population, particularly indigenous communities and rural peasants, had little or no land. This led to widespread poverty and social unrest. Indigenous peoples often faced discrimination and the loss of their communal lands. Access to education and healthcare was limited for most people. Towards the end of the 19th and into the 20th century, early labor movements and social reform efforts began to emerge, seeking better conditions for workers and greater social justice. Section 7, Central America Today, Economy and Society. The economies of modern Central American countries are diverse, yet they share some common features and challenges. Agriculture continues to play an important role, with exports like coffee, bananas, sugar, and palm oil. However, many nations have been working to diversify their economies. Tourism has become a significant source of income, attracting visitors to ancient ruins, beautiful beaches, and lush rainforests. Manufacturing, particularly in textiles through maquiladora assembly plants, also contributes to the economy. Remittances, money sent home by Central Americans working abroad, primarily in the United States, are a vital lifeline for many families and national economies. Despite economic progress in some areas, significant social challenges persist across Central America. Poverty and inequality remain widespread, particularly in rural areas and among indigenous populations. Access to quality education and healthcare is often limited, especially for the poor. Many people lack opportunities for stable, well-paying jobs, leading to high rates of underemployment and informal work. Rapid urbanization has created overcrowded cities with inadequate infrastructure and services. These social issues contribute to problems like crime, gang violence, and emigration, as people seek better opportunities and security elsewhere. The political landscape in Central America is complex. Most countries have democratic systems of government, with regular elections. However, these democracies are often fragile and face challenges such as corruption, weak institutions, and issues related to governance and the rule of law. Several countries, notably El Salvador, Guatemala, and Nicaragua, experienced devastating civil wars in the late 20th century. The legacies of these conflicts, including political polarization and trauma, continue to affect society. Ensuring human rights, strengthening judicial systems, and promoting transparency are ongoing struggles for many nations in the region. Central American countries are actively involved in regional and international affairs. The Central American Integration System, known as CICA, is a key regional organization that promotes cooperation in areas like economic development, security, and social policy. Relations with the United States are particularly important, given geographic proximity, extensive trade links, and migration patterns. Central American nations also engage with other global partners and international organizations to address issues like climate change, drug trafficking, and sustainable development. Migration, both within the region and towards North America, remains a significant phenomenon driven by economic, social, and security factors. Section 8. Enduring Legacy Cultural Heritage in the 21st Century. The cultural landscape of Central America in the 21st century is a vibrant tapestry woven from many threads. It reflects a rich blend of indigenous heritages, European influences primarily from Spain, and African traditions brought during the colonial era. This fusion is evident in the region's music, which ranges from marimba ensembles to salsa and punta rock. Traditional dances, colorful festivals, and diverse culinary traditions also showcase this cultural mixing. Artisans produce beautiful crafts including textiles, pottery, and wood carvings, often incorporating ancient designs and techniques passed down through generations. The preservation of Central America's ancient heritage is a vital concern. Archaeological sites like Tikal and El Mirador in Guatemala, Copan in Honduras, Joya de Serén in El Salvador, and numerous others offer glimpses into the magnificent civilizations of the past. National governments and international organizations work to protect, excavate, and study these sites. These efforts are crucial not only for understanding history but also for fostering national identity and attracting tourism, which provides economic benefits. Museums throughout the region play an important role in educating the public about this rich pre-Columbian legacy. Beyond the ancient ruins, indigenous cultures are very much alive in Central America today. Millions of people identify as indigenous and continue to speak their ancestral languages, practice traditional customs, and maintain unique worldviews. Groups like the Maya, Garifuna, Lenca, Kuna, and Mosquito contribute significantly to the cultural diversity of the region. However, indigenous communities often face challenges in preserving their heritage, including discrimination, land rights issues, and pressure to assimilate. Efforts to support indigenous self-determination and cultural revitalization are increasingly important for ensuring their traditions thrive. Literature, art, and intellectual thought play a significant role in contemporary Central American society. Writers, poets, painters, and filmmakers explore themes of history, identity, social justice, and the complexities of modern life. Figures like Nobel laureate Miguel Angel Asturias from Guatemala brought Central American stories to a global audience. Contemporary artists and thinkers continue to grapple with the legacies of colonialism, civil war, and inequality, while also celebrating the resilience, creativity, and spirit of their people. This vibrant cultural production is a testament to the enduring human need to make sense of the past and imagine a better future. Section 9. Conclusion: A Journey Through Time. Central America's history is a remarkable journey, spanning millennia of human experience. We have seen evidence of sophisticated ancient civilizations that built great cities and developed complex knowledge systems. The arrival of Europeans brought profound and often devastating changes, ushering in centuries of colonial rule. This was followed by the struggles for independence and the challenging process of building modern nations. Throughout this long and often turbulent history, the peoples of Central America have demonstrated incredible resilience and an enduring capacity for adaptation and innovation. The impact of the Spanish conquest and the colonial era cannot be understated. These events fundamentally reshaped the social, political, economic, and cultural fabric of the region. Indigenous populations suffered immense losses, but also found ways to resist, adapt, and preserve elements of their cultures. The societies that emerged were complex, multi-layered, and often marked by deep inequalities. Yet it is also crucial to recognize the agency of Central Americans themselves. They were not merely passive recipients of historical forces, but active participants in shaping their own destinies, fighting for their rights, and striving for better lives. Today, Central America continues to face a range of challenges. These include economic development, social inequality, political stability, and environmental concerns. However, the region is also rich in opportunities. Its young population, vibrant cultures, and natural resources offer great potential for the future. Understanding the deep historical roots of current issues is essential for addressing them effectively. Learning from the past, both its triumphs and its tragedies, can help guide the quest for greater stability, prosperity, and social justice for all Central Americans. Central America holds a unique and important place in the world. Its history is a vital part of the larger human story. Its diverse cultures contribute to the richness of global heritage. The spirit of its people, marked by resilience in the face of adversity and a deep connection to their land and traditions, is truly inspiring. As Central America navigates the complexities of the 21st century, its long and multifaceted history provides a crucial foundation upon which to build a more hopeful and equitable future for all who call this remarkable region home.